What's up everyone, Nethervvoid here with another Path of Exile video for you. This is a prequel to the build video. This is the new build I'm working on. This is a crit, quote-unquote, Burning Arrow Proliferation Elementalist build. The reason I say quote-unquote Burning Arrow is I'm not sure if I'm going to go Burning Arrow right now or Frenzy. I don't really plan on having Frenzy charges up with this build unless I go with Frenzy, because with Frenzy I can just fire as normal and I'll get Frenzy charges no matter what, which is awesome. And I'm not going to have any extra room for uniques like Blood Dance on my boots to generate Frenzy charges, because I'll tell you in a second why. So I'm not sure yet, because Frenzy gets you, if you use the actual Frenzy skill, you get 9% attack speed per Frenzy charge. I want to have 6 charges, that's like 54% attack speed. That's pretty good. It ups the damage a lot. I actually did a little bit of calculation. I might be showing you that on the screen. I'm going to do a better one in the next video, actually in the build video, but Frenzy cuts that on top if I do not generate charges with Burning Arrow. Burning Arrow has a better, at level 20 anyway, has a much better base modifier. It goes up to 184% at level 20 of base damage on your bow. Frenzy only goes up to like 136 or something like that. Again, the difference there is Frenzy, you get a lot more attack speed per charge, and you get more damage, or it's actually increased damage per charge and increased attack speed per charge. And it just amounts to a lot more. So I'm not sure yet which way I'm going. Either way, I will be converting all my damage to fire damage. If I go Burning Arrow, as you can see I have on right now, I only have to convert, it already converts 50%, so I only have to convert 50% more. I will be using the Signal Fire to do that, as you're seeing right here. Signal Fire being the upgraded version of Black Gleam. This comes from of Prophecy. It's 1x. It's a little bit pricey, but that's the way it is to get a good this quiver. You don't need this quiver. You can use Black Gleam, but you don't get the gain 32% of physical damage as extra fire damage. And there was one other stat you don't get, but I can't remember what it is right now. I think that's the only one you don't get. So this is a lot better. My DPS went up a lot. So I'll be using those. For Burning Arrow, I only need the Signal Fire to convert everything to fire. If I do Frenzy, I'm going to need the Signal Fire and Avatar Fire, which will convert this other 50% of my physical to fire. But either way, I'm converting everything to fire because I'm going to do Proliferation of Ignite. So the two ways I'm getting Ignite is I'm going to go crit with this build. A lot of Prolif builds do not, and I will tell you why in a second. And also because I will be gaining a lot of Ignite off of things like Eye of Innocence, which used to be 30C when I actually first had this idea, and now this thing is 3+ exalts because Build of the Week did something with Cast on Ignite, and now this thing is ridiculous. You can probably only buy it for like 5x or more now, so I got it luckily for like 35C. I think a guy didn't know it was more pricey now. It's only been priced up in the last like week or so. So I'll also be using really 2 of these 10 chance to ignite Mokou's Embraces. This one's only a 5, so I got to switch that with a 10. That will get me 30% ignite. Now if I use Burning Arrow, I'm going to get another 20. That gives me 50%. But I'm going to use Frenzy. I'm also going to get some chance to ignite off the tree, and I'll also get chance to ignite basically off crit. And I will be getting a lot of crit, so this is going to be a crit build. So either way, if I don't take Burning Arrow, I'll be fine. I'll be doing a lot of ignites. And because I'm going Elementalist, I am going to be proliferating that with this guy, Beacon of Ruin. This will basically give me a free link on my main skill of proliferation, right? So any ignites I do will proliferate around. The difference here is the radius on Beacon of Ruin is 12, and the radius on actual elemental proliferation is 16. So it's a little bit smaller. I'm taking some area nodes to make it a little bit larger, which also scales up my, which you can't see here, my Herald of Ash, which when I overkill, it will spread ignite around, and that will also increase the spread of that Herald of Ash ignite. So that gives me a free link. Also, elemental proliferation has a less modifier to damage, so I will not have to take that. It's gonna be a nice damage boost. So that's what I'm gonna be doing with that. So I've talked about a lot of the different things I'll be doing with this build. But also, what I'm going to be doing is self-igniting myself with Eye of Innocence. When you ignite something, you take 100 fire damage reflected to you. With Mokou's Embrace, I have a 25% chance to be ignited per ring, which means I have a 50% chance to be ignited when I have Innocence does fire damage to me. I will be ignited all the time pretty much, which means I will have, with 2 of these rings, 40% increased attack speed. That's ridiculous. Stacking that with the 6 frenzy charges, I'm going to have like 100% or more once you add in all the tree stuff to attack speed. I'm going to be firing stuff like a mad dog. I'm going to be a machine gun, okay? So that's going to be, my DPS is going to be through the roof. Now, mana is going to be possibly an issue. I'll have to figure that out, how to keep the mana going. Luckily, Frenzy and Burning Arrow, I know Burning Arrow is pretty cheap. I think Frenzy is also pretty cheap. Let me go look at it real quick. Yeah, its mana cost is 10 right now, and Burning Arrow is 7. So it's a little bit more pricey. I'll be getting some Mana Leech, which will hopefully help. I probably need to get some mana on hit, which will help some, but we will see how that works. I am level 53 right now, which is not very high, and I'm already doing, let's make sure everything's up. I'm already doing 7.2k DPS. That's ridiculous. I'm also using a Death's Opus. The reason I chose this build, I actually did a lot of calculations between this and a 300 PDPS Harbinger. It's actually a little bit higher than that. It's actually the Harbinger, the rare Harbinger bow I have on my Nethervvoid crit split arrow guy. It's like 329 PDPS, so it's pretty nice bow. It's like a 2 Exalt bow, and this thing outperforms that bow because of the 150% added global critical strike, okay? Plus, using the Harbinger, I need a greater multiple projectiles instead of a lesser, because the Death's Opus grants 2 additional arrows. So that means to get to greater, I only have to use a lesser multiple projectile. So right now, that's only 19% less projectile damage. A greater is about 39%, or 29%. I'm not exactly positive. I think it's 29. The problem with that is, the less projectile damage not only hurts my initial hit, it also scales down the ignite. So I want to keep, I'm actually thinking about, hopefully I can take this out and just be shooting 3 arrows. Because what I'm trying to do is crit the first couple of guys and then spread a nice burn over that pack and burn the whole pack out. I don't need 5 arrows to do that. In fact, it will hit harder if I only have 3. See, it's 8.8k DPS right now, right? The initial hit's going to be bigger, the burn will be bigger, and hopefully will burn everybody even faster. We will see. If I pull this out, I can use a Rapid Decay, which gives a lot more burn damage. I'm leveling it up right now. 30% more burn damage. It also reduces the burn, so it burns faster. That's good. That's what we want. We want that burn to be fast and deadly, right? So let's go over links real quick. I think that's what I want to do next. Yeah, I've talked about all the different things I'm going to do. Also, with using all of these uniques, I'm going to have to use the rest of this to fill in resists. That's why I'm probably not going to be using Blood Dance. I will not be using these uniques. These are just for leveling right now. So I won't be using Blood Dance. So really what I'm trying to do with my gems is focus on more multipliers. The more damage is multiplicative and really helps our build. It makes it very, very deadly. So we've got Weapon Elemental support. It's obvious. Maxed out, it gives 59% more weapon elemental damage. That will not scale the ignite, but it will scale the initial hit, and I'll talk about why I'm scaling the initial hit in a little bit here. And most burn Prolif builds focus almost totally on the burn, but I'm not doing that. I'm focusing on getting that hit really big, the initial hit, so that my burn is really large. And in fact, I didn't even have this guy up when I did this, did I? Oh yeah, I did. 8800. Okay. So, more weapon elemental damage, 50% more. That's a 50% multiplier on my damage, not additive. Physical projectile, it goes up to 49% more. That's awesome. So, obviously, the scaling the initial hit is going to be giant. Plus all that modifier, the multiplier, I'm going to have like 300 multiplier, maybe 350 or so. My crits are going to be gigantic. I'm probably going to outright kill most packs right when I hit them. Whatever doesn't die right away will just get burned out. That's the whole point. Increased critical strikes makes this guy right now, if you add 1.6 to the base of already 7.5, that makes this a 9.1. That's a really high initial crit on the base crit. It's really easy to scale that crit. I have hardly any crit nodes, and I'm already at 28% critical strike chance. So it's going to be ridiculous once I add in all my crit nodes. We'll talk about the tree in a second here. Let's look at the next thing. We've got slower proj here. 25% more projectile damage. That not only scales the initial hit, that also scales more on the ignite damage. That's really awesome. I'm not sure I'm going to be keeping that. Like I said, rapid decay is a lot better on the burn side. I hope I can keep it, but I'm really only going after probably a 5-link. I probably won't be able to have a 6-link in the build at the very end. I'll probably only be able to have 5 links. Now, if I can pull this out, that would be awesome because I can probably fit. Well, maybe not. I might have to pull this out to put the rapid decay on. I think slower proj is probably better than the rapid decay because again it scales the initial hit. This is gonna the slower proj will probably scale the ignite just as much as the rapid decay will, honestly. Because remember, we got 25% more on the initial hit, which already scales the ignite, because ignite is based off of 80% damage of the initial hit over 4 seconds. So you get 20% damage each second for 4 seconds. So the higher you can get that initial hit, the better your damage is going to be on your burn. The reason now we'll talk about the reason why I'm going with crit build and I'm scaling the initial hit more. That's because I really want to fight like Itziri. I want to fight the Phoenix is the other ignite, the other boss that is immune to ignite. I want to be able to fight any bosses, right? I want to make builds that can fight anything. So scaling a crit hit is much better than really focusing in on ignite or poison or something, and then being basically not being able to do certain bosses. It's a real problem right now in this game, and so I would love to scale just the burn damage and watch everything fry, but I'm going to go with both. It's kind of a hybrid approach. When you see the tree, I've picked out some fire nodes which will scale the burn damage as well, it double dips, and some projectile nodes which also will scale double dip on the burn. The things that will double dip on burn are fire damage off the tree, fire damage period, and I'm getting some of that off of these Mokou's Embrace also, and projectile will scale it, projectile damage, and regular damage, just damage itself will scale the burn. That's because the thing that actually causes the ignite is the projectile, not the bow, not the attack. Burning arrow is not causing the damage. The projectile it fires is causing the damage. That's why the projectile gets tacked onto the ignite as an identifier of what kind of burn damage that is, and so projectile damage will scale that as well. So that's why physical projectile attack damage will not scale it, because physical is scaled, which we do when we fire our projectile, but when the projectile hits, it is fire damage at that point. It is no longer physical damage, so physical projectile will not the ignite will not pick up anything from the physical projectile multiplier. So that's why that only scales initial hit. But again, when you're adding 49% more damage to the initial firing of the arrow, that's going to do a tremendous amount of ignite damage after the fact, so it's fine. It actually kind of scales it in a sense. It double dips in that way just because I'm scaling the initial hit. What that's going to do for us is, when I hit a boss who's immune to ignite, I'm still getting a huge initial hit, so it's going to take the boss down. It's not going to make the fight so insane, right? It's not going to hurt me so much. There's also another way to self-ignite, and that's with Cloak of Flame. I tried this out on my guy, because 20% of physical damage is taken as fire damage, which can ignite you if you have the Mokou's on. The problem is I have to get hit to do that, and it's not very reliable. So what I did is instead use the Eye of Innocence, because I only have to hit them. They don't have to hit me. Obviously, I don't want to get hit. I'm an archer. I'm way in the back. I should not be getting hit. And so that's what we're going to be doing, is not getting hit. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how this thing works. It's obviously not working yet because I don't have this self-ignite going. Maybe we can get some good hits on some people and show you some ignites. We will see. These guys are probably just going to all die from the first hit. You can see a little bit of burn there, but those guys don't have a lot of hit points, so you can't see the burn very well. The burn's already scaling really well. Oh, I don't have... See, this is why just the 3-shot is probably not going to work very well. It's very hard to manage and doesn't do a real good job against big packs. So when I put that in, obviously I've got GMP now, and it's a lot easier to hit, guys. Let's get over here. Maybe you can see some burn here. So no, you're probably not. There we go. We saw some burn there. Let's get a burn on this guy. Again, the burn hasn't been fully scaled. I haven't been scaled into crit at all. And I don't have my chance to ignite stuff on. I still have a lot of scaling to do. I'm also going to be picking up, when I go to Avatar of Fire, there's there you saw the burn a little bit right there. There are 3 nodes right there, one of them being, the notable being Holy Fire, which gives me 40% more burn damage. So with those 3 nodes, I pick up 70% more burn damage, so I'll be scaling the burn that way. It does not scale my initial hit, so that doesn't help me at all. You can see, when I get a crit is really when you see the nice burn. So that's going to do it for just showing you kind of how this works. I'll be showing you when I get into maps how this thing works out and how I'm going to be doing with all those frenzy charges and stuff. Again, I might not be sticking with frenzy. We'll see how that works out. If it doesn't work out, obviously I'm going to be going back to burning arrow, but we'll see. So let's get to the tree real quick. So here's the tree real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on this because the video is already really long. Obviously, we're going to start over here on Witch. Coming up, picking up some area nodes only because it's going to help our proliferation. Picking up 1 gem because I am going to use hot-footed, which will get me 15% more run speed when I'm ignited. So that's another thing we're going to get. I'm going to get a lot of boosted damage, which I didn't really talk about. Pick up these awesome fire nodes. Go over here, get Avatar Fire, and then get these burn nodes here, ending in Holy Fire. Pick up some life. This is actually really far into the build, 96. I don't expect to probably ever get this high. I'll be showing you some leveling trees as well when the build's finally done. Go over here, getting crit from the shadow tree, pretty obvious. Life, stuff like that. Picking up some physical damage and movement speed. Life there, picking up some a frenzy charge. Some pierce, that's going to be really awesome since we're not going to have chain or anything. We want piercing, will really help us. Picking up acro and phase acro for defenses. We're going to be going evasion on this thing. Also getting Val Pact to make Leech happen immediately, which is going to help us a lot when we're doing higher tier maps. Crit and multiplier, some great stuff right there. Another frenzy charge plus 4 increased evasion rating per frenzy charge, so 24% more. More life nodes plus a nice flask node there. Going up over here to get more life regen and some projectile damage here and some accuracy, which is going to be really needed. And then picking up some life and evasion. Also picking up this crit wheel for bows, a lot of crit right there. Arrow dancing because we never should be in the mix. You can pretty much off screen all the time with bows. And then coming over here, picking up a lot more crit here as well. We pick up a lot of crit off the tree. Bows are really great for picking up easy crit and easy multiplier. It's going to be no sweat to get up to 70% or so crit, maybe even more, even without power charges. If I have to, I will fit power charges in. I could pick up this 1 power charge. I'm not going to try to pick up this one as well. It's too many points. If I have to, I'll run Assassin's Mark on Blasphemy. I don't really want to. I'd rather run Flammability to give me more ignite chance and lower monsters' fire resist, but we will see. So that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I will let you know how this is going. Probably the next build video will be when I'm all finished with this thing, showing you what it's doing in maps. I'm not really sure yet. Also, this is a lot of points to get over to Avatar Fire. This is why Frenzy, if I go Burning Arrow, I'm cutting this whole part of the tree. I'm going to invest in other places, probably the projectile nodes here. I had to cut those, but that will help the initial hit and burn as well. Those are really great to get. I just couldn't fit them in. I probably will be fitting in power charges to that point. I don't know really, so we'll see. But I really want to fit Frenzy into the build because I just think it's fun. I've never used it as a skill, and it's really badass as far as 100% attack speed bonus. Yes, please. It's going to be super insane. So anyway, that's this build. Let me know what you think. Maybe I've missed something or you have questions. Let me know in the comments section, and I will see you guys next time. Stay frosty.